Welcome to
Okay.
Beyond Time Signatures. So today with us we have Jake Howsam Lowe and David Maxim Micic. Welcome to the
Hey, I'm
podcast,
Jake.
guys.
I'm David.
So I mean, it's really like your guys' chemistry is through the roof right now. So I just want to ask you, like Jake, how did you find out about David back in the day?
I think it was probably Simon who showed me Below One or one of those things, or I might have illegally downloaded it off a blogspot somewhere. That was probably my original exposure on just like download progmusic.blogspot.com,
Okay.
something like that. Yeah, and it was just like, who is this guy just making cool music that and like using just whatever he uses to make music and being way better than everyone else. And it's like 1993 and no one else is doing this kind of music.
Not true, but okay.
Yeah,
Thanks.
it was probably to do with me and Simon just being all over forums and internet looking for cool music, and he popped up, and yeah, we both really. I think it probably was Simon who introduced me. I vaguely remember him being like, "You got to check this guy out. He sounds cool," and the rest is history.
The rest is history. And David, how about yourself? How did you find out about Jake?
I have no idea. Honestly, no idea. I have problems with memory loss. So as soon as Jake tells me how we met, I'll probably get
It's
some
not-
kind of a picture in my mind. But
It's got to be through Pliny or something. Many
did we
years.
talk at all before Pliny tours and stuff like that?
Yeah, maybe.
We probably did.
I think a little bit. Maybe there was forum talk or just Facebook.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was just like, hey, random person added me on Facebook in 2011 or something, and
Yeah, I remember hearing some Helix Nebula stuff at one point, but I have no idea what year it was. I have no idea what the occasion was. I think it was probably one of the guys from Destiny Potato showing me some stuff back then. But I remember hearing Helix Nebula pretty early on, when this whole like movement started, like internet guitarists and home producers and stuff like that. But I didn't. I actually didn't. I didn't connect you with that project at all. Only like after we met or something like that, I realized, oh, okay, so he's the Helix Nebula guy, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we
That's
had
interesting. Yeah.
an online connection of some kind for multiple years of just seeing each other's names on Facebook comments or forum things, and then the Pliny thing kind of happened and it all connected.
Yeah, which is how most things happen these days, I guess. But we were the pioneers, in
with the original
connecting, like pioneer degenerates, the internet fucking dwellers.
and I come from a generation that looked up to you guys and extracted stuff from you guys and made whatever we make right now.
yeah, just making friends with randoms on the internet.
Yeah, that's the way in life to go. that's how we are here today. So I
Jake,
have a very
is that? Sorry,
No, no.
I wanted to hijack your interview for a second. Is that
Please
behind you? Are those books or are those games? Board games?
I mean, down here, there's a few board games, but the rest are books.
It's books. Okay. Jesus, that's beautiful.
I just moved into this place and got new bookshelves so I can display all my books in
Hell
one.
yeah. You should, like, if you could open that thing up and have it act like an absorber.
Yeah, exactly. It's just sound.
Yeah, sound absorption.
exactly.
Nothing more to it.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
I have it here. I couldn't afford like the official sound absorption, so I just bought a lot of books.
Hell yeah. Yeah.
That's
That looks
so
sick
fun.
though.
Yeah, that's exactly what I
Nice.
told Jake when we got on call like a few minutes ago. That those would act awesome as absorbers. So
Oh, yeah.
I have to ask you this question, like, how have you seen, like, the internet friendships, like the way internet used to serve as a mediator for, like, connecting with people versus how it is now? What difference have you seen over the years, both of you guys?
You can go first if you want, David.
No, please don't make me go first. I need to think of the answer.
All right.
It's early.
I feel like it's. I mean, there's definitely different mediums because I don't think the forum thing is as big, at least not in my world, as it was back in the day with 7-string and all that kind of stuff. But I think the forums kind of existed because social media wasn't as good at connecting people. But like now with students of mine and like you, I see people having just little Instagram groups of independent prog guitar guys and stuff, and people reaching out to other independent prog guitar guys. It seems like there's a pretty good community going on. So the format's probably changed a little bit, but it still seems to be like random guy from Brisbane meets random guy from India meets random guy from wherever else, you know what I mean? And these little communities form. I don't think it's that different. It's just probably a different format, maybe.
I see. David?
I agree.
This is going to be the whole.
Wholeheartedly.
The whole.
Just gonna let Jake talk now. I'll be like, yeah, whatever he said. No, I agree. It was a bit more rough back then, slower. The way the forums worked and all that. Although I never spent much time on forums. You would have to like refresh and then scroll down and look for the new comment, and then maybe there was 4 new comments and you end up having to flip the page and shit like that. I don't know, but it's like, today we have, I don't know what Instagram groups are, but I trust Jake that's awesome. And I know what Discord is. I use Discord for a bit. I kind of fell off for the last year or so because I generally just fell off social media stuff.
That's fine.
For a bit because family, and just gotta keep sanity going. Don't need to be fucking harassing myself from multiple sides with all the information and all the duties. So I kind of fell off, but as Arsen is growing older and being a bit more independent and finding his own things, I'll probably get back to being more of a terminally online because it will do good for me, probably for my career at least, because how things work. Yeah.
Yeah, I think like the other thing is back in the day, you kind of sometimes just have no idea who like Djent guy 1345 on the forum is, and you're just
you're
just assuming it's someone cool, and you're like, all right. And even to this day, I think there's this mystique behind a lot of the, like even David, Pliny, all those guys. There's this sort of unreachability, or not unreachability, but like that you nowadays people are so content creation oriented, and it's so easy to be like, I kind of feel like I know this person because they're just putting themselves online entirely. And back then it wasn't like that, where it was much more, this guy put up a track on SoundCloud or whatever, and the music is really sick. I'm going to assume this guy is really sick as well because he's just text behind a website,
Yeah.
I see what you mean.
And there wasn't as much going on back then. So like if something cool happens, I think everyone's rushing to hear the track on SoundCloud or YouTube or wherever the track is put up. Nowadays we are so oversaturated with new music and new stuff. It's kind of hard to keep the track off. But like, for example, yesterday, because I kind of started doing like a research for the new Solid Pink record, and I ran into 2 very random things. Let me see if I can find them on my YouTube history. Okay, it just comes up in my field. So Coping Methods. It's a band. They came up randomly on my YouTube, and I checked it out, and I was like, oh, this is cool. I haven't done that in a while. Just clicking on a random band and be like, oh, nice. And like the vocals kind of remind me of Love and Death, and the riffs are a little, like more dropped and heavy. The production is a little soft for my taste, but it's good. Everything's good. Looks fine. Sounds fine. And then something else came up on my YouTube homepage, and I click on it. I'm like, this is off. Something's off about it. And it's actually a YouTube page. I'm gonna try and find it now. It's a YouTube channel with a bunch of songs kind of in the same genre, but it's all AI generated.
Damn.
And people are having no fucking clue. Like this one, so the band is called. Yeah, they're probably having fun with this, but at the same time, like this song has 53,000 views, and the comments are all like, "Oh, this is amazing! You guys are fucking phenomenal!" And the guy's replying like, "Thank you, like we are doing our best," or whatever the fuck. And it's so obviously AI generated. It's like, and it's and it's distributed by DistroKid. At least that's what
This happened to me a while ago. I found someone sent me, or I found this YouTube where it was like pop songs or like pop-ish songs, but then the vocals were all out by a half step or a whole step. This was like at least a year
okay,
or a year and a half ago. Like AI has been moving so quickly that now it's much more convincing, but this was at a time when AI was still just kind of getting its handle on things. So there's all these songs, like full-on dance tracks where the vocal line is completely out of key, like blatantly out of key, and it's on Spotify, and it's a full album of stuff, and it's got an artist name.
Wow,
that's insane stuff.
That's wild.
Obviously, someone farming streams to get money by just creating a random AI thing. Yeah, it's pretty nuts.
Have you guys heard about this website called Suno for AI?
Yeah.
So, like, I am a machine learning student myself. I'm in my last year. So, like, I do all those sort of things and how those work. And what I've realized is that the people that are scared about that AI will take over the musicians, that's never going to happen. One main reason of that being is the music that you can generate by typing, it's very genre specific. So, for example, let's say... like David, you took some piano inspiration and then you took some inspiration from Meshuggah. You combine those two things and you made Of Hope. So that's you transformatively creating your own thing from two different existing things in a way that it's cohesive and your own. And AI cannot do that. AI can only take existing data because AI works on data. The data you give it will generate data of similar kind, and it cannot transform that into something more creative. So that's where humans are always going to be a step ahead of AI.
Yeah,
I agree, but also I think we have to know that whatever. Like last night when I heard this, it took me a second to realize it's actually AI generated. It's good,
really?
It's good. Yeah, it took me a couple of seconds. I was like, something's off. I don't know if it's guitars. Oh yeah, definitely vocals. And then I kind of recognized, and then I asked my friend who generated like hundreds of songs using Suno just for fun. I was like, man, is this AI? And he was like, oh yeah, 100% AI. I had the same vocalist on my track. I was like, okay, cool. So at least that, you're sharing a good vocalist, I guess. And the lyrics are very obviously, like once you kind of get into that whole AI stuff, you kind of can recognize the pattern in lyrics, the way it starts, the way it ends. There's a weird artifact going on in the vocals. Guitars are all, most of the time, like very obviously MIDI-ish sounding, or just like too perfect. The vibrato as well. It's weird.
It's always weird, the same mix.
Yeah, it's a similar mix most of the time. Yeah.
It's the Same with AI art. Like if you don't know anything about AI or don't know that it exists, it's like you get a million like boomers on Facebook posting a photo of a pumpkin Donald Trump and being like, "Oh my God, Donald Trump's a pumpkin." Like, but it's convincing enough for that. But it's like anyone who's actually seen enough of it, instantly you go, "Okay, this is AI." But there are people who will profit off it, like, and not be honest about it. That's the thing. It's like,
absolutely. And it's the worst right now that's ever going to be, unless it gets like heavily regulated soon, you know. And if it doesn't, it's gonna be a problem for certain producers. I think, you know, for producers who are doing like mainly beats and that kind of stuff, like the easy stuff.
I also think for people who are like I had this conversation with Pliny about people who don't want to be the like upfront guy on a stage performing their instrumental prog music. People who just have the ability to write music and want to write music for TV adverts, for like movie scores, blah 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 blah. You know what I mean? Like the classic working musician. They're the people who are going to be impacted by. It's the same with artists. Artists who aren't selling their painting for $500,000, but I create movie posters or create graphic design things. They're the people who are going to be impacted, and it's like, how much do we value a working creative? You know what I mean? In society, because it has to be regulated. Otherwise, those people will have to move away from creative jobs because they're just not going to be there anymore. The jobs they're working in are not going to be there. It's not the mind-blowingly creative musician who's going to get replaced, or the guy who's doing their original music. It's the working musician who is using their skill and their passion to create stuff for people, right?
Yeah, I agree. Absolutely. And I think what's gonna get valued a lot more in the future is the creative process itself, you know. And you can already kind of begin to see that, like a lot of people moving back to using like tape machines just for the sake of it, real amplifiers, you know, stuff like that. It's just, you know, it's gonna become more and more fun. It's gonna be more fetishized, I think, in the future, just using analog stuff in a way. Not necessarily, of course, like people are just majority of people are gonna be interested in the end product. But, you know, us nerds, and there's many of us out there, I think they're gonna appreciate just seeing the creative process up front. So putting yourself out there with, you know, whatever the knowledge you have, or just like, you know, giving them bits and pieces of your creative process, I think it's going to be valued a lot in the future, I feel like.
Totally.
Unless AI gets, you know, super regulated and it doesn't become a problem at all, which is hard to imagine because we know Suno, we know OpenAI, but there's going to be a lot of, you know, unregulated stuff coming from the East, probably, you know, the China markets and all that. They're going to be insane, and they're going to be used for sure, you know. So we'll see. It's exciting times ahead. I think it's going to be very, very interesting.
Definitely. And I think I'll have to give you credit, David, on the front that you have always, like almost for 10 years and now, you have always shown your creative, like, you know, process through videos and through short documentaries and stuff. And I think for somebody like me who started following your musical journey after E04, for me, watching that creative process videos and stuff helped me associate you as a role model per se in pursuing music and art, that it's not just about, like, you know, getting your songs out, but even the process. And you make your own samples. I don't really think you have to do that, especially, but it just gives that you take more pride in it. It makes it more fulfilling to do, is what I would get from it. So and also sorry, but for me, I've looked your past interviews and stuff, and for me, you've always been the one that knew what was coming next, or like thought in the direction. So for example, home studios and stuff, I think you went for university in doing that. And I don't really think like in 2024, anyone really, like unless you have the budget, goes to a studio. Everybody has their home studio, and so like you had a lot of things sorted out. So like, uh, how did you think? Like what made you think that way in the initial phases? And it's unfolding very nicely now.
So when I originally went to Berkeley to study, I went there to study. First, I wanted to study composition for movies, like film scoring. That was my, because like when you go there, you give them a vague idea of what your major is going to be, but still you have like some time to adjust and do some core classes to get to what your major will be in the future. And very quickly, like maybe in the first week or so, I found out that the film scoring major at Berkeley was kind of outdated at the time. I don't know how it is today, but when I went there, I received a warning from a couple of professors who were like, the program is a little outdated, maybe just go for composition. And then I spoke to, I actually started doing core classes for the composition major, because my dream always at the time was to do orchestral stuff, like guitar came by accident. I started playing guitar when I was 14, and guitar was just like a tool for me. It still kind of is, but like orchestral was like my favorite thing ever. Orchestral and choir, which changed obviously over time. And then I spoke to another professor, which unfortunately I don't remember his name. But he was giving us. I was doing I think music production core classes with him, and he was like, "Yeah, you can do composition." No, actually, I asked him about the production major at Berkeley, and he was like, "No, do music synthesis." I was like, "What the fuck is that? Never heard of that." And he's like, "No, do that. Everything is moving in the direction of you owning your own setup, working in your home studio, all that kind of stuff." And that kind of just, cemented the idea of like doing stuff at home will be the future for sure. And that's the story I was, pushing on to others, on to all my colleagues. I was like, guys, just buy a fucking sound card. They work, and a pair of speakers and just make music. It's exciting. And a bunch of people I know, they actually did that, and I did it as well. And that's how somehow I ended up in the position I am in now, I guess.
Awesome.
But also my dad was kind of forward thinking, and he provided me with a simple setup when I was 15 or 16 years old. So that was a good training for me to do what I do today, which is just, stay at home and make noises all day, every day. Nothing changed.
That's
Yeah.
so cool, man. And this is a collective question.
If that
for
answers your
both of
question, I went on a fucking, I don't know.
No,
if that answers
it
your
did
question.
answer my question. It
Okay.
did answer my question.
Okay.
So this is a question for you both. So like touring can be very unpredictable, right? You think a certain way a tour is gonna go, and it just doesn't really start that way. Was it a tour that you both were on that that didn't really start off, but then some happy incident happened that made the entire tour memorable?
I have like the well, not the but we almost got caught in a hurricane.
What?
In the US. I think it was Hurricane Harvey or one of those, and the whole day was just like us.
That was the one.
Yeah, we woke up on the bandwagon, and it was like, oh, we don't know if we're going to play the show tonight. We don't even know if we're even going to drive into Houston because there's a hurricane that's supposed to hit tonight. And for whatever reason, someone made the call that, yeah, we're going to go play the show.
But we did start the show early, I think.
Yeah. The opening band left because they had to go and protect their house, so they didn't play. And then the second evening band shortened their set, and then all three of us shortened our sets. Nick, David, and we all did shorter sets. And then it started to hit as we were leaving. Like I just have vivid memories of getting to the truck stop just outside of Houston and it bucketing down with the heaviest rain I've ever experienced. And our driver, Tyler, just like trying to fill up the bandwagon, like no shirt on, shorts, and like he's from Florida. So, but just like dying in the hurricane, trying to fill up the bandwagon. Yeah, it was wild. And it was a relatively stressful day, but yeah, that I always remember that from that tour, because I just the whole day was like, are we gonna like get out of this, or are we gonna be in this hurricane? Which is interesting.
That's so wild.
I didn't have any dark thoughts on that day. I don't know why. I was just like, oh yeah, we're escaping the hurricane, I guess.
I think that's you're pretty laid back. You're pretty. Like, I
guess, yeah.
I don't know. You seem to be somewhat averse to a fair amount of anxiety.
Right.
Like it's the same with Pliny. Pliny seems to be like, you guys both seem to be on that level of like, look, this is happening. I'm just gonna roll with it.
Stoicism.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Yeah. It's not stoic. It's just trauma. That's all. Yeah. It's just fucking trauma, I think. Yeah.
That's cool. Do you have any stories like that? Funny stories from touring together?
Well, I shared that story with Jake. There's definitely a couple of stories I probably can't. There's a story. Maybe I can give you like 70% of it.
That's totally fine.
When I lost my phone I lost my smartphone. What was that? It's one of the crazier places in Australia. It was a crazy party place.
Oh, Brisbane, probably. Might have been Brisbane or Melbourne. I don't know.
No, it's smaller. I think it's a smaller place.
Canberra?
Was it Adelaide?
Adelaide, yes.
Because we were on Hindley Street, the like party street of the.
Yes, Adelaide. I think it was Adelaide. I'm pretty sure it was. And Pliny and I went out. I don't know if someone else was with us. And we were drinking. Yeah. We were drinking that night, and we went back to our hotel room. Pliny fell asleep immediately, and I very soon realized I don't have my smartphone with me. And I tried to wake up Pliny. He was not waking up. Then I started panicking even more. I was like, is he dead? I started, like listening to his breathing and all that shit. Yeah. He was just gone. He was gone, but like alive still, which is good. And I was like, I wrote in the group chat. We had a group chat for that tour, set up for that tour. And our tour manager, who wasn't with us, Raul, legend. Raul, yeah, he's from India, and he was in India because he couldn't get to Australia, some visa issue or something. I don't remember exactly. And he was awake. Everyone else was asleep because of the time difference. He was awake, and he was like, okay, give me a minute. So he called from India. He called the closest police station to our hotel. And they gave him the information that some police guys found a smartphone, and that I can go to that and that police station. And if the phone unlocks with my finger, I can just take it with me. So me, drunk, super drunk, ordering an Uber, or was it Raul that ordered an Uber? I don't remember. But like, I went to the police station. People there, fucking bloody people, just complete massacre. I don't know what the fuck was happening in that town, but it was insane.
In Adelaide.
Yeah, it was crazy. I was just entering police station. Everyone's on drugs, hurt. Something's happening. I don't know. The guy just puts the phone in front of him on the counter. I put the thumb on it. He looks at it, unlocks. He's like, okay. He didn't even want to spend a word on me. He was like having other shits to deal with. But yeah. The whole, point of the story, hire Raul for whatever the fuck you're doing. He's amazing, I guess. Yeah.
You're not going to be able to hire him because he works like putting.
I know he's doing some crazy stuff now.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. But still, like, if you're super rich and you need someone you can rely on and give them millions, give them to Raul. He's worth it for sure.
Yeah, one of the ones that I remember the most is you getting violently ill in Hungary. Was it? No,
it was in Czech.
in Slovakia or somewhere like that.
Yeah, actually, yeah.
And just he, for whatever reason, something got him sick, and he just passed out on the couch, like in the green room next to the stage for like 3 hours before his set, and we're just like waking him up, being like, "You're gonna do it." He just like walks on stage like a zombie, plays it. And then I think we had a day off in Budapest the next day, and I just remember you going to a hotel and just vanishing for like 48 hours because you were just like that.
Really? Yeah. Oh yeah, true. Yeah, and I remember the night before Budapest, there was a guy who wanted to get my signature or an autograph after the show, and I was just violently puking for an hour in the backstage because of the food poisoning or whatever. And he actually wanted to fight security. He wanted to fight Mike, I think, as well, to get in and get my signature. While I was just, and I had no idea, none of that was going on at the time. Just people telling me afterward, "Oh yeah, there was a guy, he was causing some issues here," while you were throwing up back there. So that was like a little cherry on top on that evening. I was like, "Oh damn it, someone's gonna hate me now and think I'm a snob or something." I don't know. I was just dying back there. I don't know.
That's so funny.
But yeah, bad stuff happens. But yeah. Sorry, what was that? I couldn't hear.
Sickness on tour is never fun.
Oh.
It's always
totally.
Yeah.
So like, do you guys make some measures that you will never fall sick, or like, do you guys carry meds and stuff with you guys just to prevent anything like that from happening?
I'm usually loaded up with so many meds that, like, for food poisoning, for flus, etc., etc. Like, and I nowadays I try to make sure I'm taking vitamins or drinking heaps of water, like being slightly more responsible. You know what I mean? Whereas there were times when it'd just be like, I'm good. Well, my first US tour, I ate 31 burgers in 30 days. So, there have been times where I have been not as responsible. But yeah, it's not worth it. Being sick on tour is not fun.
And eating a burger every day is risky.
That's the American way.
So risky.
The thing is, the one time I got food poisoning on that tour was the day that I didn't have a burger for dinner. I had Chinese food.
Nice. Oh, okay. God damn it.
That is funny.
You tried to eat healthy. Yeah, maybe that's not
this
for you,
this
man.
is like a very stereotypical American story that if you eat healthy, you'll fall sick.
Yeah, because like your organs will start working and they'll be like, "Oh, what the fuck is going on?"
For the other 29 days.
Yeah. What is all this nurturing stuff rushing into me? I need to fucking explode or something. I don't know. Yeah, it sucks.
Hilarious. So David, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Out of all the guests, like, firstly, you have had an insanely amount of great guests do a guest solo on your entire personal music project. Is there a story of any of the guest solos that really makes you want to feel grateful about music in general?
Oh man. The one that makes me grateful about music in general. There's a fun story about Jeff Loomis and Per Nilsson solos, which I told this before, but who the fuck watches me telling stories? It's just when I was working on Below 3, Wrinkle Maze was actually written for Jeff Loomis. That solo section, not the song. And I sent it to him, and he said, yes, I'm going to do it, but then didn't reply in a few days. And me being me, I was releasing the record in like 5 days. And he was like, okay, I gotta find someone else, I guess. So I sent the solo section to Per Nilsson. I was like, Ben, would you be willing to lay something down on this? And he was absolutely down for it. So he lays down the solo. It was maybe like 10 p.m. in the evening. He sends me the solo, and I'm like, okay, I guess that's sorted. It's one of the most amazing solos, in my opinion, ever, ever, ever. And then Jeff Loomis sends me a message at like 11 p.m. and he's like, "Hey man, I'm just in the studio with who was in? God damn it! One of those guitar you have him. You have All England. Who was the other guy that has a YouTube channel?
Keith Merrow.
Keith Merrow. He was at his studio, yes. And he was like, "I'm listening to this section. Sounds awesome. I'm gonna record the solo first thing in the morning or something like that." And I started panicking. I was like, God damn it. I'm gonna lose Jeff Loomis. I was like, oh man, something came up. I had to send that solo to someone else. I can send you a new solo in like an hour. When I get back home, I was at home, obviously. But I was like, I need to come up with a solo section somewhere, somehow. So the song that was finished, which is Smile, and you can hear the song end. And then just abruptly, there's like a whole solo section at the end, which is like, surprise. And I was like, okay, I'm just going to throw a bunch of riffs here. Maybe they'll fit somewhere in the middle. Maybe they won't. I sent that to Jeff and he was like, oh, this is awesome. I'll do this in the morning. And he did it in the morning. And I got both. I got both of them. I was so happy.
That is so cool. That is so
yeah,
cool.
like two of my a couple of favorite guitar players. It's just fucking amazing. Yeah. So yeah, I appreciated music a lot more from that day on.
That's so nice.
Yes.
And this is a collective question to both of you. Like, how do you envision somebody to do a guest solo for you? Or is it just an intuition thing? That, hey, I want this guy for this solo. Stuff like that.
For me, it's usually I just think the person is incredible at what they do and like is really cool, and I'd really like them to do something, and then I intentionally write something with them in mind a lot of the time. Sometimes it happens where it's like, oh, this section would suit that person so much, but usually I'm just like, man, I feel like just asking this person if they'll do something because I like them so much and think they're so sick and like think they do a good job, and then I write something and I'm like, all right, cool, this will work for them, and go from there. But I guess it's kind of half and half, like intuition of like knowing what section will kind of suit them, but also in the first place, it's got to be that, hey, this guy rules and I want him on my music.
I see.
That's what it is.
David?
I'm kind of different in that regard. At least for my solo stuff, I just start writing and whatever comes up, comes up. And if I work on a certain song and I run into a section that kind of vibes with a certain, name or a certain style of playing, then I would probably start, digging. I would probably start searching for someone or something. But planning in advance, for the first time in my life, I'm planning in advance as to like who I want to play on the next Sorted Pink record. And I don't want to reveal it, but I know who I want, and I don't know if I'm gonna get it, but I would love to get him. Yeah.
Is it Dave Mustaine?
It's not.
Oh, damn.
That would have been sick, actually. But that would be fucking amazing. Yeah, but someone. Yeah.
I'm on the younger side of the generation of music people, and you guys are a generation above me, right?
So old.
No, I didn't call you guys old because you guys are not old. So yeah, most of my friends are your guys' age, like plus 30. So it's fine. What I wanted to ask you guys was like, how has over the years your relationship with music evolved? because it must have been something different, but then you found a way and it grew, and then you found another way, it grew, and where it is at a point for both of you guys, and how it started, and what did you have to change in your mind with the approach. Please talk to me about that. Especially David, for you after being a father. I have personally, through your social media presence and stuff, I've seen that there has been a lot of shifts in priority, right? So I want to
Oh yeah.
know how was all that also.
For me, like obviously, when you're younger, you want to, aside from expressing whatever you're feeling at the time, you have this big urge to show your skill. To show your, not necessarily just skill, but like just, I don't know, show off a little bit. You want people to notice you, which is absolutely fine. And I did a bunch of that, but I also kind of didn't practice guitar enough from that period on to be able to just fucking cleanly play whatever the hell I was playing when I was 20, 21 years old, because I just stopped kind of caring about that side of guitar playing, and I just wanted to focus a lot more on just writing music, which was my initial love for music, as I mentioned before, just composing. So yeah, I guess what changed is just like my priority in terms of what I want to express. I want to tell stories. I want to, for the record, to have a sense as a whole, to connect the dots everywhere where I can, just make it super, super interesting for listeners who want to dig really deep into all the little motifs and intricate details and quotes on older stuff and quotes on my influences and stuff like that. So that's one thing that drives me so hard. It's actually insane. Like, it drives me more than guitar ever could or ever will be able to. But like, guitar as a tool in that process, it's been just beautiful to uncover and explore. So yeah, it's a lot of fun. But like, yeah, focus definitely changed from guitar to back to just composition aspect of music. And yeah, Jake, you can take over from here, and then I'll go back to Arsen and stuff like that.
I think for me, if I look back, I feel like I go through cycles and phases, because obviously when I was young, it was like, I want to be a good guitar player. And then suddenly I learned that you could make up your own stuff and write music. And it was like, oh, this is all I want to do. I want to sit here at my computer and just type out notes, and like, I don't care as much about being a good guitar player. And then suddenly I go to university and it's like, oh, I need to be a good guitar player because I'm surrounded by good guitar players.
Yeah.
I think for me, it's this constant cycle. And I think partly, like, ever since starting to tour with Pliny, I'm constantly surrounded by musicians who are way better than me all the time. And it's like, we get people up and we tour with people, and I go home from tours and I'm like, man, I suck at both writing music and guitar, and I need to be better at all of this. So like, every time I come home from a tour with someone who's sick, I either get into like, I want to practice guitar so much, or I want to go back and just add more to what I'm writing. But it seems to go in cycles quite a lot, where it's like, during the pandemic, I spent so much time playing guitar because I was suddenly not touring and having to play guitar every day at a show. You know what I mean?
Right.
But there'll be times where I just go, there was a good portion of time when we first started touring where I just basically stopped practicing guitar, because it was like, I'm playing guitar when I'm touring, I'm playing guitar when I teach, and all I wanted to do in my other time was write music. And I kind of mentally, at some point when I was mid to late 20s, kind of went like, look, I'm mid to late 20s. My improvement at guitar is over. I'm not going to get any better than this. You know what I mean? Like, the people who are like 10 can do what I do. And so I'm just going to focus on the thing that I really am passionate about, which is like writing and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, there's been moments like when I've taught and I've seen someone pick something up at a later age and suddenly improve, and I suddenly something clicks and it inspires me, and I'm like, you know what, I'm going to pick up the guitar and actually try and learn that technique, because why not? You know what I mean? Sometimes I just forget that practicing actually helps.
Oh yeah.
Which is very strange, because you do it for 5 hours a day for 10 years, and then suddenly you go, no, practicing won't help me get that technique down anymore. Weird mental thing. So yeah, I feel like I've constantly gone in cycles, and like transitioning from being a music student into trying to earn money as a musician changes where your priorities are with what you do, and then you're like, oh, I'm earning money, I can now afford to try and do this thing, and then you go, oh, I need to earn more money because life costs more and I have responsibilities, and you go, you know, there's all these different life factors which kind of have impacted. I guess it's a constant like wave of in and out of wanting to be the best guitarist in the world, and then wanting to be a really good composer, and then kind of constantly having both of them there, but they fight each other throughout the years. And sometimes just being like, I have no drive to get better at anything at all. I'm gonna read a book instead. So
one of the books.
Yeah, exactly. I'll read one of them one day.
Okay.
Right now. But yeah, so it's interesting, and I can only imagine that having a child would be a huge impact on, like,
oh man, it changes everything. Everything's different now. Like I haven't drank a drop of alcohol since 2019. I started doing drugs, which is
good actually,
you know. Yeah, actually, but like, you know, just like very cannabis mostly, and not that often. Like it's not like I'm high all the time or some shit like that. It's just like after a while you realize the benefits in taking it. Sometimes, you know, there's a lot of benefits to it. Also, it helped me with allergies this year so much, with the ragweed allergy. Yeah. It was shocking actually to discover that, because I knew nothing about its benefits in that regard. And I don't know how this conversation is shifting from having a child to using drugs so quickly, but it did actually help me with allergies this year tremendously. I have a child. Let's talk about children. Switch the fucking topic.
How is it?
Like,
how has it impacted your musical approach?
Well, E04 kind of tells the story of all about it. I guess, you know, the time before COVID and before my mom died, the time of COVID and when my mom died as well, and then the time when my child was born. It kind of covers like in 3 different sections. It covers those 3 periods. And I think you can hear the difference. It's like it's a lot more like the first part is very playful. It's just fucking, you know, me, whatever the fuck, and then me dealing with mom's death, and then the child is born, and there's like a very beautiful rush of optimism and, you know, happiness in my life again. And my actions speak that I very much prioritize that over anything else in the past 2 years. I think also for the benefit of Arsen, because like they say, like you have to spend like 2 or 3 first years with your child as much as you can. And just knowing that, I decided to not do any touring, to stay at home as much as I can. I did one show with some crazy fusion project in Budapest, but that took only like a couple of days of my life, so it wasn't that unmanageable. And yeah, it changed me, absolutely changed me. All my priorities are here right now, and they're slowly shifting back to focusing more on my professional life. And this year's been just like a long preparation for whatever the fuck is, you know, to come in the next few years, I guess, just working on new websites, working on some new projects, on new products. I started doing my first AAA video game music, which is very exciting. It's exciting over the top. It's also stressful as hell because they need like 3 hours of music, and there's only 4 of us in the team working. So it's like, hopefully they announce it soon so I can talk more about whatever the hell is going on with that. But yeah, it's been very strange, a very, very big shift in everything. But it's been beautiful. I've been enjoying every living second of it. And yeah, I don't know what's gonna happen with me. No idea. We'll see. No idea. Yeah, and one thing I realized like very recently, maybe a few months ago, is that I can't plan things ahead. Like I can plan my today and my tomorrow, and maybe the day after tomorrow, like such as this interview, but like to plan things like 6 months, 1 year in advance right now in the circumstances that I'm in, with a child, with just being it's impossible. So if I can do whatever I have to do today and tomorrow, I think it's gonna be fine. It's gonna be good, and the long-term planning is gonna come eventually, I guess.
So have you forced him into being a child prodigy yet? Has he...
Yeah. No.
5 hours a day?
No, man, I'm not getting involved in such a manner at all. I like whatever he decides to do in his life, he's gonna do it. I'm gonna give him a couple of nudges, of course. He's very interested in drums, like super interested in drums. He's like setting up all kinds of stuff here behind me. Just he's got like drumsticks, and he just comes in and he's like do da, and just fucking starts smacking things. Then recently he discovered Superior Drummer and the fact that he can play drums on the keyboard. So it's been like for the past 2 weeks, every morning we wake up, he's like, Dad, do that, and I'm like do that, and I'm like, yeah, soon. Let me, after your nap or something like that. We'll figure it out when. But like, he gets in here, he goes crazy with that kind of stuff. But so yeah, there's obviously tendencies towards that. It's exciting to him. It's it's like a toy and all that. I don't think there's any real thought put into it other than just like this is fun and loud. But soon enough, if he shows interest in that, or painting or any kind of that stuff, he's got Yelka, he's got me, he's got we have a bunch of friends who are doing very interesting things, so he'll be fine.
Hell yeah,
I think so. Yeah,
that's so cool.
But not trying to push him into anything, even if he shows like insane talent. I'm not gonna be that kind of that. Nothing against people who are like make sure he's the best on the planet, of course. Yeah, but yeah, he'll decide.
But I'm pretty sure just by osmosis, he's going to have like a very wide musical background and knowledge, like just as a person about stuff. And that's really great. I mean, if I've mostly like, when I hear people saying like, even for yourself, your father is a musician, right? So like having that sort of background makes all the difference, because I don't come from a very inherently musical background-ish family. So I had to learn, and like, those things that do come naturally, I had to get myself into, which people who have that access have it naturally, and it's amazing.
It helps. It helps. Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
I think music is so good for the brain as well, that like just being surrounded by music when you're in that like brain development stage, the first few years, it's so critical to just overall life skills and life intelligence and stuff, because it does have such a huge impact on how the brain forms. So it is good to be in a musical household.
Yeah. But also like we never played any of the like Baby Shark type shit to him.
Mm-hmm.
he doesn't know any of it. Like I'm always like, he's a child. He can handle some beautiful music. It doesn't have to be something absolutely ridiculous and insane. So it's fine. You can play to him the Beatles. You can play, some Rolling Stones, some old school stuff. It's all beautiful. It's just beautiful music.
Opeth for a second.
Sorry, what?
I thought you were going to say Opeth for a second. You can play some Opeth.
Opeth as well. Hell yeah. Opeth, fucking awesome. Yeah, beautiful. I think I actually played him Opeth as well a bunch.
That's so cool.
There's always nice music in this household. No need for any of the the I don't even know how to call it. It's just there's nothing like it. There's no word for it. It's just hypnotizing children music or whatever the hell, so you can spend 4 extra minutes on your phone or whatever the hell. We bought him vinyls.
Oh,
and he's so stoked on vinyls. Yeah. It's amazing. Like, at 2 years old, he has learned how to place the vinyl, put the needle on, turn everything on, set the volume right, set the speed right. It just tells you that there's no need for any of that, loud and obnoxious bullshit. Just give your child a vinyl and he'll be stoked. He'll be so happy with it every day, all day. Vinyls, just listening to vinyls, I'm going insane. Listening to Beatles, if I hear another Beatles song, I'm gonna explode. But it's cool. It's good for him. Yeah.
definitely. That's really, really awesome to hear. And the fact that because I can't imagine, having your career build up to such an extent, I would say around 2021-ish, and have so many different areas where you have had an impact on, and then, taking the call that, hey, this needs to be put on hold because there's something even more important out there. It must have been an instinct to do that, but it's a hard decision to make objectively, to have to know that there was momentum and to sit on it just because there's something even important. So that's awesome, man. I'm really, really happy that you did that. And and since you have built your brand around yourself and not obviously your music, but through your videos and through the additional stuff that you provide in terms of knowledge, you have built your brand around it, so people are always going to tune in for you and for your music, and that's awesome. And that leads me to question, do you think when the genre was evolving in its very early stages, there was a lot of room for innovation? Like how Jake mentioned to me earlier on the call that, everyone would hop on to 7string.org to check out what's new. Do you think that the room of innovation has reduced over the years, or is it opposite? Or how do you feel what can be something that can be brought to this genre that we call Djent? Both of you guys.
Jake, you start with this one.
I mean, I think you always find there's going to be someone who innovates in some way. I think that everything is so saturated now because everyone who does it can do it in some way. Everyone's got the home studio. Everyone's got access to DistroKid, YouTube, Instagram, blah, 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 blah. So it's probably going to be the case now that there is a lot more stuff that is not necessarily innovative. Doesn't mean it's not good, but there's just inherently going to be a lot more music that treads paths that have been tread because there's just more people who are able to do it now and have access to it because of technology and all that kind of thing. Whereas I guess back then, maybe only really the people who innovated in some way ended up getting to the point of actually finishing an album or putting it together because they were the ones, I guess, figuring out, how do I do this at home? How do I create this thing, right? Now it's it's insane to me now that I can open up Logic and have almost a mix ready drum plugin, almost a mix ready bass plugin, guitar tones that are presets in a plugin that are basically mix ready. You know what I mean? I can do zero mixing and have something that sounds way better than any demo I ever made 10 years ago. Way better than what heaps of people were putting out 10 years ago. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it was more that, like, I think there's still people that innovate. There are still people who do amazing things and create music that is like super new and super interesting. It's just we are surrounded by so much music now that inherently there's going to be more music that follows a path that someone else has been down before. So it's not necessarily that there's less room to innovate or less people innovating. It's just that there's more people putting out music in general. So it might just be an illusion of less innovation because you see more people like, hey, he's doing the Djent thing or doing the shred thing or whatever it is. And it's not bad. It's just different, you know?
I see.
Yeah. I mean, I agree. Absolutely. Yeah. I don't think there's a lot more to add to that, to be honest.
So I have a follow-up question to that. Is
Yeah.
that, people my age, when we try to make something, let's just say emotional or something that's not super heavy and more melodic, it's either this sounds so much like Pliny or this sounds so much like David. So like, is there saving in a way for our generation to escape that, putting in the box of you sound like him or this sounds like him sort of thing?
Don't bother. Don't bother. Just do you. Yeah. If it sounds like whoever, just fucking sound like whoever. Over time, you will escape that trap of sounding like someone else. But when you're first releasing stuff, you have to sound like your influences. There's no other way around it. Like I'm 13 years into releasing my own stuff, and only now I feel like I've found my voice or whatever the fuck you want to call it. I don't know. It's like only now I'm actually like super comfortable to say that I have something that's mine, even though maybe people could recognize it before, but like I look at that before like a complete mess and still like a whole mush of many influences. Just so do you if it sounds like Dream Theater, sound like Dream Theater. Who gives a shit? Your first 3 records you can sound like someone else until it crystallizes in your head like who you are. But there's no way you're gonna discover your thing if you're not putting yourself out there and receiving the critics and just being just being on the receiving end of people commenting, listening to you. Also, there's a very strange aspect of when you put your thing out there, something changes in you every time. Like,
Yes.
It's no longer just the reference of your influences, it's also the reference of your past work, which pushes you unbelievably far, like so much further than you would ever go if you were just sitting on the unreleased material. Just put it out there. Who gives a shit? Like, I received probably hundreds, maybe thousands of comments of me sounding like someone else. And yeah, it bothers you for a minute, It's like, what the fuck do you know? Fucking who gives a shit? But it's like, yeah, of course. Sometimes they're absolutely right. Many times people are absolutely right when they tell you, yeah, this is influenced by Devin Townsend. No shit, Like Devin is, he's whatever the fuck he is. Of course I'm gonna get influenced by Devin or Dream Theater or whoever. It's like, it's obvious.
I think
it's hard to accept that, It's like,
I think the only thing I'd add to that would be like, firstly, like David said, the people you're thinking about like that are in the same boat. I demonstrate to people, like when we're talking in lessons about songwriting, I demonstrate how many times Pliny has started a song with a big open distorted chord and a crash cymbal and kick because he likes Dream. You know what I mean? Like, he's done that like 7 times across his career, and it's like he just thinks Dream Theater is cool, and so he does it. You know what I mean? That like it's very easy to forget that the idols that you listen to are also in the same boat with other people, and a lot of the time it's just you don't know those other people. You just haven't found that music, you know what I mean? And so I think the one thing I would say is if you do feel like these people are saying I sound like Pliny or David, and you go, maybe there's some truth to that, the antidote is to explore music. Like I just vividly remember being a teenager into my university days and just finding as much music as I could. Like, didn't matter what it was. It was just like, I am desperate to hear more stuff from any genre. You know what I mean?
I see.
It's just like, I think that is one of maybe the slight drawbacks of the way both social media and streaming is. Like, Spotify curates playlists so accurately to your taste. It's like, oh, I found a new band that sounds a lot like all the other bands I listen to because Spotify suggested another band that sounds like that. You know what I mean? And if all you're consuming is Pliny adjacent or whoever, that's what you're going to put out into the world, and that's fine. Again, like, you're allowed to do that, and that can be great. I mean, there's a lot of great instrumental guitarists, but I mean, David wouldn't be David if he didn't have the, like, what do you want to call it, like Serbian traditional music influence that you grew up with, that like most other instrumental guitarists in the scene did not grow up with, right? And you can hunt that out, and you can find the things that are unique to you and go, oh, maybe that's a thing that I really want to see if I can incorporate into what I'm doing in a way that is musical. So I would just say constantly, like, reach for new music and don't be afraid to listen to things that maybe aren't exactly what you're passionate about at the time, because the amount of times I've just found a random thing where it's like, oh, this bluegrass record's amazing, and I'm not a bluegrass guy, but that one album that I found happens to have something about it that really speaks to me. You know what I mean? That's what really, I think, a lot of the musicians from that late 2000s, early 2010s era have in common. They all are very well versed in listening to music. Like, you name a genre and they probably have a favorite album from it. You know what I mean? Whereas I think it is very easy to just get stuck in your Spotify algorithm nowadays and end up only listening to things that come out that sound like the thing you've already listened to. Which, again, not the worst thing in the world.
That's such an interesting point. I actually never thought about that way, because I always, like, when I want to listen to new music, it's like a little adventure, you know. Just go out to the web and you try and discover something super cool. You're just, I don't know. I don't think I've ever been a victim of an algorithm in that regard. It's just like, it's always.
That's cool.
If you already are someone who, like, joined the streaming universe with a full catalog of music that you like from many different genres, it's gonna the algorithm's gonna throw you a lot of stuff. But if you're someone who started your streaming listenership with only prog bands, you get a bunch of prog bands or only Djent bands. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so you have to go out of your way to try and, like, break out of that and find things that are maybe a little different.
Definitely. And I personally feel that the sense of melody that everyone, including you, David, that you guys brought to the instrumental prog, it was originated from a place that was not prog, right? Because, like, you did composition, piano composition and stuff, and I assume, like, you developed a great sense of melody from that, and you brought those kinds of melodies into prog and made it your own thing. And stuff like that. I can, like, even Tigran Hamasyan brings his own influences, Armenian influences into his music, and makes it prog. So essentially what I am starting to feel is that if a person only listens to prog melodies, they will only make prog melodies. But if you listen to melodies in general, you can, like, funnel it down in a prog setting and make it sound cool.
Yeah, it's like Alex brought up a really good point. Alexandra Jelmash, we spoke about AI and stuff recently over a dinner, and she was like, she was like, I'm not gonna butcher this, but she said something in the realms of like, man, if AI is just input and output, aren't we all just that? But like a lot more specific and a lot more personal in a way, you know? It's like it's so the fact that I grew up where I grew up, and the fact that I got introduced to progressive metal, and that I was the generation that was going nuts over nu metal as well, and the fact that my father was a drummer and he knew this and that guy and he influenced me to listen to this and this music, it's all a crazy cohesion of, you know, a soup of whatever the fuck I am today, or Jake, or you. And just leaning into all that, just your personal stories, your, you know, the music that you love, the music that you love, the music that you hate, even, you know, just like, it's like everything is incorporated into whatever comes out of you when you sit down and write. And you can get inspired by a very, you know, very concrete list of things if you want to. It's one way of doing things. Absolutely. Like, just, I'm starting a new record, I'm gonna make a list of inspirations for this record, and then I'm gonna draw from here. Helps tremendously to some people, but it's like, just like, you know, you're you at the end of the day, and the more of you that you put out, it's, you know, the more of you is gonna develop over time. And I guess that comes back to the story we covered earlier. But just, yeah, just do whatever. Yeah, that's the whole point, I guess. Just do whatever. It's all fun, it's beautiful. Yeah.
Music for music's sake.
I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, so I just want to take a moment, David, to say that today is my 1 year anniversary of starting this podcast, and
Nice.
and I was not expecting it to be like, you know, go the way it went. So like what you just said, do whatever, it works.
Yeah. Okay.
Works.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. That's a big ass jar of water. I need one of those.
Yeah, it's like I would say it's like a 2 liter bottle. So I don't have to
Okay.
go out. Like, you know, I can just get on my day through this entire
Yeah.
2 liter of bottle, which is still less compared to what people suggest, but it works. I mean, you forget
Yeah, but
everything
it
when
makes-
you're working on music, right? So
It makes you pee a lot.
yeah, it makes me pee a lot too.
Oh, congrats on the first anniversary of your podcast, man.
Yeah.
Thank
That's
you
beautiful.
so much. Thank you so much. I'm so glad
Yeah.
that you accepted my invite, and I'm so glad that you and Jake both are here, trying to, like, you know, catch up and stuff.
Yeah.
It's good.
So-
It's good.
Yeah, and out of all the cities that you guys have toured, and out of all the countries that you guys have visited, where have you guys had the best pizza?
That'll be controversial depending on what type of pizza you like, I think.
Any pizza, any pizza. It's a personal question, like whatever you feel the best.
I mean, I can't not say Italy. I think the best, like, traditional pizza I've ever had has to be Italy, but there's been some really good American style pizzas throughout the US. Like,
Hell yeah.
yeah. Nowhere else gets it the way, like, the US get US pizza really well and Italy gets Italian pizza really well, and I can't really remember that many other mind-blowingly good pizzas that I've had outside of those two places.
I see.
Yeah.
Although
Like pizza. Yeah, go for it.
I think I had a butter chicken pizza in India once.
That's
and
classic.
Nice.
That was pretty good. It was like very touristy, but it was not bad.
Yeah, that's cool.
Nice. I feel like pizza in Italy is like, you know, a very defined discipline of, like, you know, it's like boxing, you know. pizza in Italy is like, I'm just bullshitting now. I don't know. Pizza in Italy is like boxing, and United States is just fucking UFC,
Yeah.
where it's just like anything fucking goes. It's just like, and it's beautiful. Pizza
So
in
do you
United
guys
States.
pineapple on pizza or not?
Not
I
on
don't care.
Italian pizza. I would never have pineapple on traditional Italian pizza, but on like US pizza, I'd be like, yeah, fine.
Okay.
Yeah,
cool.
because it's already insane
It's
Yeah.
stylistically
and
appropriate.
greasy.
Yeah, exactly. You can do whatever the
Yeah.
fuck you want, and it
Yeah.
works.
Man, like the times when we finish the show and we order Domino's, fucking Peps,
Yeah.
pepperoni pizzas,
Fine.
was one of the happiest times on tour. But then in the middle of the night, you're like, Tyler, can you stop somewhere? Like, there's 3 of us that need to take a shit. It's very urgent. So yeah, not a smart decision, but a beautiful one, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I find I almost always regret eating post-show food, but I almost always make that decision.
Yes. God damn it, that's true.
Yeah. No matter how many times you're like, oh, I shouldn't be having like 7 slices of pizza at 1 a.m, you still do it.
Yeah. Man, I was listening to Corey Taylor's interview the other day where he was talking about retiring and stuff like that. And he was talking about how, even at their level, it's not all, it's not all glorious. Like sometimes you finish the show and all you have to eat after the show is some soggy sandwich in the back of the tour bus, and it's like a choice if you're gonna do it or not is very hard at times. Just like, oh my god, that's so relatable. God damn it. Even at that big of a level, it's kind of like that. So
you're in the middle of nowhere and you're just like, all I have to eat right now are like Oreos, a bag of almonds. Like, I guess I'm just gonna eat them and see how they go.
Let's see what happens. Yeah, it's crazy.
I do have a question that's particularly pertaining to me. It's the fact that I literally started out putting stuff this year, and the support that I've gotten has been huge. And since when you started out putting your stuff and you got great comments, like how did you leverage that momentum into something even bigger down the line, or did you not care about it at all? And same for Jake, like, with Helix stuff, when you guys got that initial praise, how did you take that as a leverage and build it into something that's today?
I guess for me, it was like when Helix started, it was the first thing I'd ever done that I had no intention of doing anything with at all. It was like, I'm going to write really stupidly hard music just because that's like really melodic, just because I want to see if I can do it, because like I have these inspirations and I just want to see if it's possible. And then I was at uni with Simon at the time, and he was starting to get into the mixing thing, and I was like, I'm going to abuse this friendship and ask him if he wants to mix some songs that I'm writing and play bass on them, and just for the fun of it. And we had this idea at the time where we were like, oh, let's do like a bunch of different EPs of just random styles that we like, and just put them all out just for fun, because we have no intention whatsoever. And then we put out like the first and second demos of Helix tracks when they were still called track 1 and track 2, like on SoundCloud on 7-string. And within like 3 days, I remember seeing Pin from Sixth comment on one of them being like, this is amazing. And I was like, what? The guitarist from like the most innovative band, like I love this band so much, how does this guy know my like demo that I have on SoundCloud that we recorded on the Central Coast north of Sydney? Like, how is this the thing? And that really, within a week or two, we had more, like at this point it seems silly, but we had like 700 likes on Facebook, and that was more than any other musical project I'd ever done. And that was after a week of having like demos up, right? And it instantly made me and Simon go, oh, maybe this is like a thing we should pursue in some way. Like maybe we should actually write more of this and take this more seriously than just, hey, let's write a bunch of random shit and put it out. And so we've got all these weird little demos of other styles that we'd done at the time that we just dropped instantly because we were like, this seems to be a thing that people internationally have jumped on. And that initial encouragement of like seeing people who we looked up to, like seeing Pin or whoever else on the forums, like Nolly or whatever. Like, and at the time, like Nolly's like a guy in his bedroom doing stuff as well. You know what I mean? But
right.
The people that we looked up to, and so it was instantly like, okay, let's take this seriously. Let's make this a real project. Let's actually put our effort into getting this to sound as good as we can. Because at the time, it was just demos with Easy Drummer or whatever, Simon mixing, and I think that probably like made Simon go, I'm really gonna like put a lot of work into trying to learn how to mix because I want to make these sound as good as they can. So yeah, that the initial feedback on that was just, it just kind of made something click in both our heads where it was like, this is a thing that like we might be onto something here and we should actually take this seriously on some level, like still have fun with it, but actually pursue it and see what happens and see if we can play shows with it and see where it goes from there. You know what I mean? So it definitely was, I guess, a kick up the butt to take it seriously in some way.
Hell yeah. I just recently spoke to, well, not spoke, but like exchanged a bunch of messages with Conor Kaminsky.
Oh, nice.
And he's at the point where he's like dedicating all of his time and energy to trying and making it with as a full-time musician, you know. And I'm just like, oh man, that's like the most beautiful moment in, you know, in a professional musician's life where you feel like it's time, you know. It's like it's so good. I kind of, I don't know why, it's, you know, that whole story you told is just like, wow, that's such an important feeling to have. And you have to feel the right moment, I guess, you know. Like for him, like fucking fingers closed, crossed, he's amazingly talented and a really, really cool producer, very humble, good guy. I think he's gonna do good things. But yeah, for me, also, you mentioned Sect, which is such a strange connection. Back in 2008, I was putting some stuff on my MySpace page, and I vaguely remember having Strange Night on MySpace, because I wrote Strange Night like way back when I was like 16 or 17. And it was actually one part of actually two songs, one that I wrote with Alex when we were 16 years old, which then led to A Strange Night, which was like a little concept or whatever the hell. The song with Alex was called Fool for You. And I had those two songs on my MySpace page, like one after the other. And I remember talking with, I found this project called Emoji from UK. And it was actually a chick, one chick singer and someone doing the music. I don't remember, probably a guy doing the music. And I spoke to, I think it was the lady from the project. And she told me that her boyfriend actually loves my stuff because it reminds him of Sect. And her boyfriend was a drummer for the band called Skindred.
Nice.
Yeah, and I was like, okay, cool. I love Skindred. I love Sect. This is like one of the most amazing conversations I'm having in my life.
Yeah.
Although it was a very, you know, something that would today be a very regular conversation. But back then, when internet things were, you know, really early on in the whole like promote your music on whatever MySpace, you know, Reverb Nation, whatever was the platform at the time. It was like, wow, like I'm talking to someone who actually knows someone that I like. It was insane.
Yeah,
but yeah,
those moments where you get some form of validation from someone you look up to, whether it's a big musician or just a musician that you're friends with that you think is really good. Anytime there's that like, oh wow, this thing you've done is actually really good. It's like that moment of like, oh, maybe I'm not hopeless. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe I have something that I can offer to the world of music that people will like. So like for me, it was huge seeing people that I actually looked up to and listened to and thought of as like musical gods at the time, liking anything that I had done. You know what I mean? You're just like, okay, if they like it, that means I've got something that I should pursue and actually go forward with.
Yeah. Because like as a musician, you obviously have your ego, you know? You have your creative space in your head, you have your ego space in your head, but there's also a lot of doubt. You know, whatever you do, like I just, you know, because we had like a little break from doing the game music stuff, and I rushed into making as much material as I can for Sorted Pink, and I'm like 7 songs in like 2 weeks.
Nice.
And like a few days ago, I woke up and I was thinking like maybe this is all fucking bullshit. I don't fucking know. And it took me actually 2 or 3 days to get out of that mindset, just like self-doubt of some sort, very strange, weird feeling where you're like, maybe this is all just fucking stupid and I should probably slow down. But like, you know, it's just it's just like then you receive positive feedback from, I receive it from Yelka. You know, someone else will receive it online from friends or someone. Just like do a, you know, capture of your screen with your smartphone, send it to a couple of friends, and they're like, hell yeah, this is sick. And you're like, okay, I'm sorted for the next 2 weeks, I guess, you know. Then
It's
I'll
like
seek validation again.
no matter how many times you put out something that people like, you still go creating and going, oh, I don't know if this is any good and if people will like this.
Yeah,
Like
all the time.
So yeah, having those moments of like, okay, there is someone outside of my brain who says this is a good thing. I can hopefully trust that. I can hopefully push aside some of that doubt for the next week. Just keep going.
I see.
Yeah.
And we tend to be more critical of our stuff than anyone else, right? If we think it's like good, then everyone else will think that it's great most of the times.
Well, yeah, if there's quality to it, that makes sense. But there's people who are just straight up delusional and maybe sociopathic in nature, you know, or nurture, and just can't control that stuff. They just put out bullshit and people hate it, but they think they're awesome still. Yeah, I would love to be like that. It would be amazing to be like that. To have like good quality to offer and be just fucking oblivious to all the doubts and, you know.
Yeah, I think there would be a healthy level of like self-criticism where it's like, if I write something, I can say, I know there are good elements to this, but I also see all the flaws and I'm unsure about that and I'm unsure about that. And if you have that about yourself and you still are like, look, no, but I do like this, then it's probably something that other people will, in my experience, be like, that's amazing. I love it. You know what I mean? Like you have to be passionate and enjoy what you like, but there also is a healthy level of self-criticism that has to be there, because otherwise you're not going to push yourself. You're not going to do better. You're not going to fix the things that you think are wrong, right? I find the process of writing is just constantly listening back to what you've done and waiting for like the Metal Gear Solid sound to spike out in my brain going, no, something's wrong. That's not, that transition feels terrible. You know what I mean? And being critical like that, but still knowing, no, this is the thing I'm hearing in my head, and the thing I'm hearing in my head is what I want to hear. I just have to get it out in the right way that makes sense. Whereas if the first thing you get out from your head is, if you're just like, yes, best thing ever, then
yeah,
probably a problem. So, yeah.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, man. Yeah. So that's pretty much it from my side of questions.
Okay.
And firstly, I would just like to say that thank you so much, both of you again, for joining and coming and conversing with me. It has been a pleasure having you both.